Okay, all right, okay. Hi everyone, Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. Let's talk about an interesting thing that has turned up on the Bird app, twitter.net. Apparently the one-of-a-kind, one and only Mr. Bobby Logic himself, Logic, the rap man. It seems like a few days ago he took to Twitter to do a bit of an AMA with a hashtag #AskLogic, and he had an interesting bit of commentary on one of his more notorious records in his discography. Let's go look at that tweet. Was Confessions of a Dangerous Mind Side B ever a real project? I don't know why in the year of our Lord 2022 you're looking for extras from that record. But still, Javin was genuinely curious as to whether or not that was going to happen, and Bobby responds, no. So, no, that's not going to happen. But the funny thing is, people didn't realize it was a satirical or a satirical social experiment. LOL. I win. And to this day, the numbers show it is my most popular album, proving my point. Make a controversial album and people talk. I've never actually admitted this. LOL. Excuse me, what? What? Huh? What? How is Confessions of a Dangerous Mind satirical? What's the satire? What is it satirizing? On top of that, he also calls the record controversial, and I'm a little lost as to why that is. I mean, in preparation for this video, I went back and I listened to the album. I listened to the album again, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff on it I don't so much care for. I was a little blown away by a couple things, kind of, rewinding on it. Logic, oddly enough, sounds, at least on his newer cuts, much more mature, like vocally and in terms of some of the stuff that he's saying on these tracks in comparison with what he was doing. And this was just in 2019 on this project. Like, pretty much all the Vinyl Days tracks and singles so far, like, blow a song such as Clickbait out of the water, or even Commando or Pardon My Ego. Corny or not, you can have that interpretation of his work if you would like. It seems like he's coming from a bit more of a personal and a more genuine place, and I think that's ultimately a good thing. So yeah, the substance gap and the vocal delivery gap, I definitely noticed, kind of going back to revisit with Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. But listening to the album, I'm not really hearing what it's satirizing, and I'm not really hearing what makes it so controversial. Like, I suppose that there is maybe room to talk about how vapid some of Bobby's bars are on the record, and maybe he wrote them knowing how silly and vapid they were, and he was making fun of other rappers who are similarly like, speedy lyrical miracles that take themselves too seriously without really like saying all that much substantively. But with that being said, like, I can't imagine that he would invite like heroes of his, like Eminem, onto such a project that is essentially just, again, a satire, a joke. And granted, Eminem is like a pretty silly guy on his own stuff, but, Homicide, for example, seems like a track where he's really like trying to go toe-to-toe with an idol a little bit, and just give the fans a genuine banger, not like a satire piece. And further beyond that, I kind of struggle to see what makes the record so controversial. I mean, granted, I don't think a lot of the material on it is very good, and a lot of fans and haters alike responded to the record negatively because they didn't think the record was very good, and maybe it being as kind of a low mark for Logic creatively, that kind of made it controversial. But honestly, in the grander scheme of Logic's discography, it's kind of hard to see this project as more controversial than, let's say, his switch into rock music with Supermarket, or Bobby Tarantino 3, the album/mixtape he released after saying that he would retire. To me, those records are kind of higher points of controversy than, Logic kind of merely returning to doing a pretty straightforward hip hop project over here. That doesn't seem controversial to me at all. It doesn't really seem satirical at all. Again, the only thing that people really kind of freaked out about with this record is how not so good they thought it was. And I don't see how Logic could have come out with a record at this point in his career where if he disappointed people, they would be truly and utterly like surprised. You know what I mean? Not to say that Logic isn't a talented guy and, a cool artist. He certainly, can be. I've enjoyed projects from the dude, but like he does get a lot of hate. He does get a lot of hate. And if Logic suddenly just like came out with the most worst album of all time, like there would be thousands and thousands of people who would look at that and say, ugh, not surprised. Simultaneously, take an artist like Chance the Rapper, for example, Before the Big Day. There was not a considerable amount of people who were anticipating that record would be as horrible as it was. Like that project being as awful as it was truly was controversial. Whereas again, with Logic, there are so many naysayers. Like, I fail to see how a project of the quality of Confessions of a Dangerous Mind would prove to be controversial in any way. And look, I reviewed it. I remember that time. I don't remember people being like, what? How did this not turn out so great? I don't know what's going on. But listening to this again, I fail to see what's satirical about it. And I think Logic has put out more controversial projects. Like returning to hip hop after your rock project that nobody was expecting. That's not dramatic or anything. That's just what the fans wanted you to do. Look, if this is your most streamed project to date, and you needed to keep under wraps for so long that like, oh, you made it controversial and satirical on purpose and nobody knew. Oh, you win. You've played us all, Bobby. Maybe the reason people are still streaming it is because they just like it. But I'm just the critic at the end of the day. I'm on the outside. I'm an onlooker. I'm a commentator. I'm on the sidelines. Who am I to deny Robert the freedom to define this project as a satire piece? Which, if that is the case, like, consider me punked. I'm tricked. I mean, I took the damn thing seriously. Bobby, Robert, Logic, you tricked me. You got me. I'm punked. I got spoofed. And this record was so damn satirical and that satire was so subtly applied. I need to reconsider my score for this record. And honestly, like, what if this is just the tip of the iceberg? What else is he keeping under wraps? What else is he not admitting about his records that he's released? Was the whole freaking discography so far just a social experiment? I would say that kind of makes him even deeper, trickier, and more elusive, creatively speaking, than like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Kanye West combined. Like, dude tricked the entire industry into thinking he was like some serious rap man, when the entire time he's like being a little trickster, sitting there being like a little sussy baka. Hopefully soon we can all go back and listen to Confessions of a Dangerous Mind with a fresh mind and fresh ears. Shit, I just realized the album is Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, and Logic just went on Twitter to confess to the world that the album was a satirical social experiment. That's the confession. Wow. And again, if like Logic's entire career has been just kind of some satirical social experiment up until this point, that certainly would make him a dangerous mind. Like on the level of a Joker or like a Riddler, which in the face of that, no need to look for a hero, because I will do it. I will be the Batman in this scenario. I will take down Bobby Logic. I will put an end to his reign of tyranny. Never again will he trick us into another satirical social experiment. The buck stops here, buddy. I'm Ant-Man.